With taking apart a bunch of stuff again, I once again have a stack of plywood and other things that doesn't fit anywhere, and I also have way too much stuff up there from other things I took apart and or got when people moved out. I still don't want to tackle that yet, but I do think I want to try and make a shelf for up here, because right now that's wasted space and it's wasted wall space, which in this small of a garage I can't have. Or rather, I can have, but I really don't want to because I have too much stuff. I think I'm going to try and make a little shelf for there. I don't think I'm going to put doors on it. I think it's just going to be for sitting machine boxes and those sorts of things on, like stuff I don't need to access but can be up out of the way, and that way it's not in areas I do want to put stuff or can access easier. So let's see if I can make a shelf. So first, try and get the 2x4s that I was going to try and use for the end pieces evened out and more cut to size. And that little piece that just went off there, I'm going to need it later. I made the mistake of throwing it in the recycling in between. Nope, needed it later. That's alright. The design kept changing as I went, so I didn't end up using that long piece. I just used the other short piece in the back and used the piece of plywood for the side, as you'll see. So first I put a stiffener on the front because I don't want the shelf to bend. It shouldn't, but because this has been used as a side shelf and there's a slot in it, I wanted to give it a little more strength. And then I realized that had to go on the other side because it goes on the other side for where I'm going to go, and I had to add more screws later, but that's alright. Again, adjusting things as you go with scraps you have and using the minimum of power tools, because I didn't feel like getting the big power tools out, and I just figured, I'll just do the basic stuff. Hence the handsaw and such. That's fine. It's good to be able to do all the different bits. Alright, so there I just needed to make sure that was tight enough. And moved everything out of the way so I could get up in there and set things up. And then I realized because that 2x4 is up along the wall, I had to trim that little bit out. And then it actually fits, and I was able to mark where on the wall and such that it's going to go. And that's good because that's where I'm going to try and screw in the 2x4s. And I think that should work. Again, it's mostly empty boxes that are going up on that shelf, but it ended up stronger than I would probably have needed for empty boxes. But I'd rather overbuild in case I change my mind and put something heavier later, or the next people put something heavier if we leave that up. And I needed the long bit to get back in there, and yeah, that's mostly worked. And now, even though you can't see, I'm screwing the screws down in from the top and drilling so that those will have somewhere to go and be easier to attach later. And getting things all sorted. And there I just went and grabbed a little piece of 2x4 out of the recycle bin and put holes in it. And now I'm setting it up such that I can put it on the side. There I'm trying to screw that up onto the wall and realize, yeah, I need to drill that first, and I need the bigger drill to screw those in. I was just going to put it up and then realized you couldn't see anything of what I did. I don't know that anyone's going to care, but maybe they will. So it is hard to see, but I have a 2x4 on the side along the pencil mark that I drew. I have a 2x4 on the back, and these screws in the front are into a stud. Those two screws should be into the stud because, at least I hope so, it's there. There's not going to be super heavy stuff here, so at least that's the plan. It should be fine. And then up there, I put the little offcut from this 2x4 that I had to grab out of the organic spam because I figured, I don't need that. Wrong. I put that up there because then I can screw sideways with the plywood side to get into that and then hold the top and hold this end up. So now to try and put it up. Alright, so adjust the angles. You can probably not see, but see better than the other spot for me trying to put this up in. It worked. I was able to get up on that little stand that I had made just fine, get everything all in, make sure it's pushed back enough, screw the one down in the back to the center 2x4, do the ones on the side. That worked. And then hold the plywood up and do that one. And that worked. And yeah, it's very solid. Well, I have another shelf. That should be good. I put this stiffener on the front because that's just plywood. That's going to hold way more weight. Welcome to Joe's overbuilt shelves. That with a little block 2x4, that's holding really nice up there, and that's holding into a really good 2x4 that for whatever reason is in my garage. And yeah, it's very, very solid. And I probably could have come out a little more, but that was the size piece of plywood I had, so that's fine. I don't need, and a longer shelf would just mean way up high that you lose things. So hopefully this will mean I won't lose as many things. But that's way better than before. I just had stuff sitting on top of this door, which granted the door can never close because that's where I have the computer sitting to do my time lapses. It's still not good to just stack stuff on the door. So now I can put stuff up on the solid shelf, and that's going to be way better. So yay. An empty spot is now usable for stuff. Let's put some stuff on it and see. There we go. I got the box with some of the parts for my router that's in my router table. I have one of the changes of pieces for my spindle sander in there. I have all my 4-inch dust rate connections in that box. That is the box for my crane scale for the engine hoist. There is the box for my drill press vise mount. And that is a box for my big plane. All of those things don't need to be down where I can access them because they normally just sit on a shelf. The one that I would access the most is probably the dust right things, but that's only if I get new tools, and my garage is full, as you may have noticed on the video, so I'm thinking I'm not going to get any more tools. I can't rule it out because, yeah, I just can't rule it out. But that'll go great up there. And then now I have this whole spot open and a spot up there on the shelf where the dust fittings box was. So now I can put stuff here that I can get to more often, which is good. That's a big improvement. I like it.